For you, it is taken up as an applied mathematics, right? So everywhere you will be able, you are going to implement the results, and whatever the theorems you have, you are going to implement the results and the theorems to some problem, some mathematical formulation. So that will look very good. So here in this case, linear algebra, for us it was purely memory based subject, because when we say theoretical means you have to remember all the results and you have to develop the new result. It is like that. But for your case, it is like you just develop the result, and not develop the result, already developed result has to be used for solving the mathematical formulation. Okay, so that is what we are going to do here through linear algebra. But most of the modelings in the linear algebra actually comes in the form of matrix algebra. Okay, because their formulation, when you look, it will be in the form of matrix algebra. So when we solve, obviously the operations and whatever the method we are going to use will be taken from matrix. Okay, so just have a look and we will have a quick look of it. And if anybody has any problem, put comment in the chat box, or you can stop me, you can speak at that time. I will explain you, because today's class I just want to present all the slides of chapter 1, what is there in the linear algebra, to quickly finish. Just a quick recap of whatever we have done in the last class through the Howard Denton book of chapter 1 of the Howard Denton book. So let us come to the presentation. This was the presentation which I was telling you through. Yeah.
Ma'am, they are removing me from the meeting.
Yes, that is why people are doing that. I should teach that. That should actually not happen. See, when I start the class, I should not do only me. Your interest should be study. Okay, now nobody can do that. Ronita. Okay.
Thank you,
So,
ma'am.
okay, let us come to this Gauss elimination method. What I said is that, yeah, this is the first question. You just see, we have to implement the Gauss elimination method for this particular question. So question is like this. Now here, for this particular question, we cannot implement the Gauss elimination method. You know why? Because in the first element, in the first row, the very first element is actually 0. So if this is 0, we cannot put here 1. It means what we need to do, we have to do the exchange. So we have to do the exchange, and 0 rows in the beginning, 0 terms in the beginning, we used to keep at the end. Okay. So now you just see the leftmost non-zero column is 022, 044. What we have done, we tried interchanging the non-zero with the 0 rows, and we got 2, 4, minus 10, 6, 12, 28. And the second row, this is third row, right? The first and the second row in the preceding matrix were interchanged. And what was the reason? I told you, we want to make choice of pivot element from the very first row. Okay, and that element should be used to eliminate the other column elements from the matrix. So here, if suppose 2 is the element and we want to eliminate the other, so this is already made 0. Now this 2, using this 2, I will eliminate this 2 and this 4. Okay, so that can be done here. Next is, if the entry that is now at the top of the column found in the step 1 is multiply the first row by 1 by a in order to introduce the leading one. So what we have done is, we have just divided the very first row with 2. Divided the very first row with 2. Right, that was the operation which we have implemented here. And then we got 1, 2, minus 5, minus 6, and then we implemented all other operations. So this is the procedure. If your Gauss elimination is correct, then then your rank obviously will be correct. Okay, if your Gauss elimination is correct, then your rank will obviously be correct. If your Gauss elimination is wrong, if you are confused how to implement the Gauss elimination, then it is not so difficult. The only problem comes in the Gauss elimination is the understanding. Whether you have understood that Gauss elimination or not, you don't worry about your rest other elements. Just think about whatever the pivot element you have chosen. If you have chosen here 1 as the pivot element, then you make use of 1 and eliminate the other elements in that particular column as 0. So that is what actually we do, nothing else. Okay, and then same procedure has to be found, and automatically the other rows will get reduced to the linear combination or the scalar multiple of the other rows. That will happen if they exist really. If they won't exist, then it doesn't be. Okay, next is the same question was taken and they tried implementing the Gauss elimination method. Okay, so these all procedures you can, and then finally after implementing the Gauss elimination method, this is the row reduced echelon form we have obtained. Okay, row echelon form we have obtained. Row reduced echelon form we can obtain through the Gauss-Jordan method. Okay, so please go through this and brush up all your concepts and representations, right? And this is the row reduced echelon form. You see, the Gauss-Jordan means the back implementation of, or you can say the back row transformations we have implemented here and eliminated other all zero non-zero values, and we tried eliminating. We just saw that how much we have got, and then we got it. So please go through this Gauss elimination 1 to 5. That is what is said, and this was depicted you in the last matrix algebra also. 1 to 5 is a Gauss elimination, and 1 to 6 from the beginning till the 6, if you will see, it is a Gauss-Jordan elimination. Okay, so one will produce the row echelon form, other will produce the row reduced echelon form. For the Gauss-Jordan elimination, we do the back substitution. That is what we say. Okay, next is, I hope till here it is clear. Anybody has any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so let us come to the next question. Solved by the Gauss-Jordan elimination. This is the matrix. This is the equation which we have got. x1 plus 3x2 minus 2x3 plus 2x5 equal to 0. This is the equation. So it's an equation form, should be converted to the augmented matrix form. We got the augmented matrix here. We got the augmented matrix here, and you can see the last row actually is the augmented matrix for the system is 1 3 minus 2 2 6 minus 5 0 0 5, and I think the one equation is missing here. Maybe that is a because you have 4 0 rows, right? So this is what we have. We have here 4 equations, and 4 equations when it is represented in the matrix form will look like this. We have 1 3 minus 2 0 2 0 0. These are the equations which we have obtained, and then further what we have done is we have to choose one of the pivot elements. So what I chose is I chose 1 as the pivot element here. Okay, 1 as the pivot element here, and then I tried eliminating in the first column rest all elements. Okay, so rest all elements, what we have 2, we have 0, and we have 2. So 0 need not be eliminated, but 2 and 2 has to be eliminated. So that you see and try eliminating after choosing your pivot element. Then you see how the entries are reduced. Choose the pivot element from this another row. So it should be taken from the second row, minus 1. Eliminate 5 and 4 in that particular column, because I can see the first 2 columns we have all 0 0. Okay. Next, similarly, you have to proceed for the other questions, other problems, right? So this question
Ma'am?
also for the Gauss-Jordan elimination you have to try.
Ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Next we have the example as, next we will see this was 1.2, same example, example 4. Okay. And similar thing we have here. Now we obtain one value x6 and then we will back substitution we will do and we'll obtain the other. Now here you can see how many unknowns are there. I will explain the last part. How many unknowns are there? 6 unknowns are there. How many equations are there? 4 equations are there. So rank will definitely not cross 4. But unknowns are 6. So what we can say here, yes, the system definitely we can say will have a solution, and that too infinitely many solutions. The only problem is that we have to check further whether the equations, number of equations can be made 0 or not. So what we have here is, you just see that after few transformations, we are able to reduce the rank to 3. Okay, now further I cannot see any scalar multiple rows. So I can confirmly say that the first 3 rows are non-zero. Okay, and the 4th row is 0. So we got the element as all non-zero elements, and the corresponding system of equation is, this is the system of equation where you got x6 as equal to something, x3 plus x4 is equal to 0, and all these elements we got. We can make a substitution here, x6 equal to 1 by 3, do the back substitution, and you can get also the number of variables, because rank is 3, right, and unknowns are 6. So n minus r you do the n minus r. That's our usual procedure of finding out the number of parameters. So when you do n minus r, you are going to get n is 6, 6 minus 3 is 3. So 3 parametric solution you are going to get. Okay, so you have to assume 3 variables here. So what all assumptions I have made? I have made RST. You just see, based on our comfort, we have made an assumption. It's up to you. You can assume anything. So since x1 is defined by x2, x4, and x5, we have assumed x2, x4, and x5. So x1 can be evaluated. When you assume x4, x3 can be evaluated. So it is a 3 parametric solution, and these are the solutions for the given system of equations, and it will satisfy for infinitely many values. So like that, the cases can be discussed, and these all things which we have done in the last class. Now the same thing is repeated for the homogeneous. When the right side is equal to 0, what all possibilities for the solutions we will have? One is the consistent. For the consistency, we have a trivial and the non-trivial solution. Okay, so when it comes to the trivial, everybody knows we are talking about 0 solution. When it comes to non-trivial, it will be a non-zero solution. Like that, we have done already. Okay, so please revise this concepts, because these are all very important. There are few operations which we have discussed in this, but this is also taken from your book, a minus b, a plus b, a into b, how to do the product, whether for the product also what conditions we need to check, whether all matrix can be multiplied. No, we have to check something. No, some conditions needs to be checked, that number of rows is should be equal to the number of columns of the second matrix. So that is must, that has to be taken care. Now you see here the number of elements in the first row. This 3 elements you have, no, that should be equal to the number of columns. It's not number of columns, the number of entries in this. So if I say now, what is the order? 3 cross 3. and here it is going to be 3 cross 1. So number of rows here should be equal to the number of columns of the first matrix. Number of columns of the first matrix should be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. So that condition should be verified by when you are doing the matrix product. Okay, so that is very much significant and that is very, very important. Next is that you have to check for the another condition, that is A into B. Here also you just see that you have how many columns here? Columns, number of columns are 3, number of rows are 3. So when you are doing the multiplication for this particular matrix, again your matrix when you multiplied, it was actually R cross C, 2 cross 3. When we write the order of the matrix, it is R cross C and R is here 2. So 2 cross 3 is the order for A. What is the order for B? Can anyone confirm?
4 cross 3.
4 cross 4.
3 cross 4.
4
3
cross
cross
3 by 4.
3 cross 4.
3 cross 4. Always we write the order in the form of R cross C. So R is representing the number of rows into columns. So it is going to be 3 cross 4. So when the number of columns in the first matrix is equal to the number of rows in the second matrix, then only the matrix multiplication is feasible, right? So that you do, and you can see that AB whether we are able to get properly or not. So that was the one thing which we have presented here. Everything we have just implemented in the terms of matrix multiplication. Okay, now let us come to this particular example. Here again you can, now I think anybody, when I will represent this particular system of equations, anybody can represent that whether it is a homogeneous or it is a non-homogeneous, right? Anybody can say that. So this is going to be a non-homogeneous, and they have represented here coefficient and all other matrices. Let us see some specific type of a matrix. Okay, I have not written here in this slide anything. I just wrote two special matrix. One matrix is A, where you have 1 0 and first row is 1 0 and the second row is 0 minus 1. Okay, B, where have 0 1 and the second row is minus 1 0. Correct. So I just will show you that what will happen if X is getting multiplied with A as well as X is getting multiplied with B. So I have just written the two products here. Y is okay. Can anyone tell me what is the order of Y? When I have Y will be called as an resultant matrix. A is given to you in the terms of 2 cross 2. Okay, and X is given to you in the terms of 2 cross 1, because always order we write in the, this is which slide number? 57. We have to go to 57. Okay. So when I say here that Y, what will be the order of Y? You just see A is given to you in the terms of, we can very easily find out the order of Y. A is given to you in the terms of 2 cross 2 matrix, right? So that is nothing but the R cross C. B is given to you in the terms of, X is given to you in the terms of 2 cross 1. 2 cross 1.
Ma'am, we should
Okay.
eliminate the 2.
So now when you will multiply this,
1
the
cross 2.
matrix which is of the order 2 cross 2
You get 2
and
cross.
matrix which is of the order 2 cross 1, it will give you the resultant matrix with the order 2 cross 1. I
1.
think Adi was telling something. So it is 2 cross 1. So it means the resultant matrix should come as 2 cross 1. Now let us see what product we are going to get when we have multiplied this with, okay, given elements. 1 0 I have 0 minus 1, correct. Now let me multiply this X with given A. So what I am going to get here, I have here A, I have here B. At the end of the class you can speak. So when I multiply, I am going to get here A, just multiply and see what are you going to get. A, and you'll get here minus B. This is what I obtained. Okay, this is one of the matrix which I obtained after multiplication, which is of the order 2 cross 1. Correct? Similarly, when I multiply B with B, when I multiply with B, my resultant matrix Y can be written as Y equal to B and minus A. Okay, and in the coordinate system, when you are going to represent the matrix, which is actually the resultant matrix which you have obtained after multiplying A and X, okay, where your transformation matrix is different. Transformation matrices which is used for multiplication A and B. Okay, let us see that what are we going to get in our coordinate plane. Now here the same thing, resultant matrix is A minus B and resultant matrix is B minus A. Okay, so if we view the column vector X as locating a point A comma B in the plane, okay, then the effect of A is to reflect the point about the x-axis. I will show you how it is. Whereas effect of B is to rotate the line segment from the origin to the point through a right angle. So it means that you just see that where in which coordinate system this point actually will lie. So we used to take x component, y component here. Now I am telling that this x is positive and y is negative. Correct? You got A minus B here. So it will reflect about the x-axis, how it is going to be. Earlier you got A and B here. A is positive, just see that, but in this quadrant B is negative. So Y is represented in the fourth quadrant, okay, and X is represented in the first quadrant. Correct? Similarly, I have here the another vector A comma B, which is always there in the first quadrant because A and B both are having the positive components. But I said the next component what I have obtained after multiplication, this is 1.3.1 only. What I have obtained is B and minus A. Correct? B and minus A. So it should be right angle. No, through the right angle means, yeah, this B and minus A, it should be here. It should be here. Okay. This right angle triangle should be, it should rotate to here because B should be positive, right? A is where it is negative. A should be negative here in the second, this side, no? Not down. Correct? So, yeah, please correct this one. This has to come to the second quadrant, okay, with the right angle triangle. Okay, so this is just you can say the transformation. We call it as a matrix transformation also. You know why? Because our domain point here in the case of vector spaces, no, it will be one of the transformation. This matrix is actually transforming the vectors x, which is defined in the first quadrant, to the fourth quadrant vector. So using this matrix, okay, using this matrix and using the transformation y equal to ax, we are just transforming the vector x and representing it in the other system. So we got it in the other second column, correct? This here. Next is The transpose of matrix A, trace of matrix A, these are the keywords which one study. If they study matrix algebra, they should be aware with that. Okay, so these things need not be explained again after completing the course for matrix algebra. And all these commutative law and all, you should be aware. This is third time which you are going to see on the screen, where you have A and B. This need not be equal. Everybody knows it's not commutative, because when we multiply A into B, it's not necessary that we are going to get same when we multiply B into A. Okay, and you can see, or you can revise all these associative and all these properties. It's actually required to conclude something. Otherwise, same properties you have to derive there. So if you learn more, if you understand more, then it will be good for you to implement the things directly. Otherwise, it's quite difficult. Okay, so all these associative law, bold faces, you should. Okay. So the slides, I will share the PDF. These are few results. These are the few theorems which you have. For the existence of inverse of matrix, the determinant of the matrix should not be 0. So that is what is written here. We have used many times in the previous class. Okay, all the inverse of a matrix is again a matrix itself. So yeah, they have given a characteristic polynomial. This exercise is again a homework exam, exercise 1.4. This is complete chapter 1 from your Howard Anton and Chris Ross book. Okay, so please go through it, and most of the things now you can understand, because most of the things already you have learned in detail in the previous classes. So please go through all these and make yourself aware with all the terms which we are going to use in linear algebra. Fine. Then you have some special types of matrices. Here x is equal to A inverse into B. So we can use the Gauss elimination. Instead of Gauss elimination, the inverse method also can be used. Because what I do, I will multiply on both the sides with inverse. A inverse. So A inverse into A will be I. And this side I will get A inverse. So if you are writing the coefficient matrix A, just find out A inverse. So that is possible only if you know how to find out inverse. Okay. Mathematically, in the college, when we used to give in the periodical test previously, we used to ask students to find out A inverse. Okay. Now that feature is there in the calculator also. So one can open the manual and learn that how to find out A inverse through calculator. So many things are there. So your work will be reduced. If you are going to find out x1, x2, x3, you can find out A inverse here. But only problem is when you don't have, I don't know, some of the calculators are like that. When the A inverse doesn't exist, then also some of the calculators are giving solution which is not possible. And second thing, when there is a possibility of infinitely many solutions, then in that case also the calculator, some of the calculator won't predict what it won't predict. This A inverse into B is feasible only if your system is having unique solution. If it is having infinitely many solution, then some of the calculators will give one solution and you will not be able to find out the other solution. So your prediction of giving that unique solution will be wrong. Okay, so that is the reason we avoid doing the calculator, because suppose if it is infinitely many solution, no, then A inverse won't exist here, because the determinant is going to be 0. So if determinant is 0, A inverse you will not be able to find out. But if I don't know, I heard that some of the calculators give, you need to check whether your calculator is giving that or not. Take some infinitely many solution system, some 2 cross 2, find out A inverse and see how your calculator is responding. Okay. So this is also we have done. This is also we have done all these things. Yeah, this is a relation between whatever the results you have studied. We have already studied, but this is what is the linear algebra, you know, because linear algebra, what it does now, whatever you have done in a lengthy way, it will just bring in one statement form, and you can say that these statements are equivalent or these statements are true. Now you see that what are the equivalent statements we have here. A is the matrix which is of the order n cross n, and the following statements they are telling that they are true. What are these statements? A is invertible. Okay, if A is invertible, then definitely your system will have a solution. Why we say that A invertible and the system will have a solution? This let us talk about there will be two systems governed by A. Okay, A will govern two systems. So what all systems I have? I have the systems as AX equal to 0. I have another system as AX equal to B. Okay, so A will govern the two systems AX equal to 0 and AX equal to B. Okay, one is homogeneous, another one is non-homogeneous. One is H, another one is NH. Next. Now I say I am talking about AX equal to 0, which is a homogeneous system. AX equal to 0, when A is invertible, then you are telling that determinant is not 0. Okay. If it is a singular matrix, then only A is not invertible. If A is invertible, then it is not a singular matrix. It means you are getting determinant of A not equal to 0. Correct? After that, when I'm making a statement that it has only a trivial solution, that is feasible because rank A, the rank of A, you are confirming that it is going to be n. Rank of A, you are going to confirm that it is going to be n. Correct? It is going to be n. Okay, so when n is the rank and n unknowns you have, then the system definitely will have a trivial solution. Is this understood? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Only
ma'am.
one person?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So this is how we have derived this result. So you can say this particular result. Okay, row reduced echelon form for A will be IN. Definitely it is going to be IN because it is invertible, right? And this is not there. You elementary matrices, just read the concept. AX equal to B when you are talking about, it means you are talking about non-homogeneous system. So if A is invertible, the system will have a solution and you can make a statement that it will be consistent. If AX equal to B, you have, it has exactly one solution for every n cross 1 matrix B, then you can say AX equal to B has exactly one solution for every n cross 1 matrix B. So it has exactly one solution. Okay, so like that people can make a statement because it is a consistent last row, last determinant is not 0, determinant of A is not 0. So when the rank is equal to the number of unknowns, system will have a unique solution. They will not have any infinitely many solution. In the consistent there are two possibilities. One is infinitely many solution, another one is a unique solution. So in this case, since the determinant is not 0, system will have a unique solution. So all these things please revise and then you will be very much confident in doing all concepts in linear algebra. Okay. So I hope whatever the revision we have done from the previous class, that is understood, and more is from your concepts. More things are from your concepts. So please revise very nicely, and it is not limited only to the second semester. It is related to all your higher semester subjects, whatever you are doing here. So for the practice, even though we are trying to uh, judge you through all online vivas and all, but you will be more better, you will perform more better when you will do lot of practice. Yes, Krishna Murari, you want to say something?
No, ma'am.
Yes, Krishna Murari, you want to say something?
No, ma'am, nothing.
Okay. So let us come to,
Ma'am,
yes, Adi.
and how can we differentiate row reduced and reduced, ma'am? Like by seeing only
How can we differentiate?
reduced and row reduced, ma'am? Because like for many problems, it will be
For row
unit matrix.
reduced echelon form and reduced echelon form, everything you have to use the Gauss elimination method
Ma'am,
properly.
means
That's
like
what I said. Step 1 to 5, Gauss elimination. Step 1 to 6, Gauss Jordan. When you
ma'am,
start doing back substitution, yeah.
if they give a matrix and they ask to find whether it is row reduced or row echelon, means how can we?
This is done. Now I can't teach you. You have to do it in the previous class. Assignments were provided, no?
Yes, ma'am. Like I got doubt in one or two problems, ma'am. That's why I
So
asked.
that you do and you share with me. So now it is understood that matrix algebra is known to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us start with linear algebra now. Next is linear algebra. So this is what we have as an linear algebra. General vector spaces we have to study. So we are going to study the spaces which is actually generated by the matrix. Okay, which are generated by the matrix. Yeah, so here we can see this subspaces. Next bullet is subspaces. Then we have linearly dependence, independence, bases, dimensions. Mathematically we are going to check the similar things. The same things what we have done for the matrix algebra. So that is the reason I'm telling that you all have to do the revision nicely. Otherwise it is quite difficult. Okay. Okay, so for the vector spaces, we are going to study the space space which is having a set of vectors, right? So how to define that? Let us see that. Yeah, it is in the terms of set. So mixture of your set theory, little bit, and then. In the terms of vectors, whatever you have as an elements in the set. Okay, so now you see here you have the vector. Let be with the arbitrary non-empty set of objects. Please listen carefully, because if you know the results only, then you will be able to understand. It's a memory based subject. That's what I told you. V be an arbitrary non-empty set of objects on which two operations are defined. on which two operations are defined. Okay, first one is the addition and second one is the multiplication by scalars. Now, if the following axioms are satisfied, by all the objects u, v, w in V, okay, and all the scalars k and l, then we call V a vector space. Okay, so what axioms should be satisfied? You know what we are actually going to study? We are going to study the vector space. The given set should be the vector space. So what is vector space? The space which is actually given with its own element, okay, and with its own operation. Own operation means the addition of two vectors also will be defined within the set, and multiplication of vector also will be defined within the set. So we are going to study a space in which you have an element in the terms of any presentation. It can be polynomial set, it can be matrix set, it can be row vectors, it can be column vectors, any representation, any set you have, real numbers, anything you have. Okay, some special representation of numbers. Okay, in the set you have any numbers, any form, any mathematical expression, and that expression will be given along with their definition of addition of two vectors within the set and multiplication of two vectors within the set. So that is the reason you have defined here that non-empty set of objects. It means you have V, and on which the two operations are defined. What two operations? Addition also and multiplication by scalars. Multiplication is with a scalar, addition is between two vectors. Correct? If the following axioms are satisfied, now where is that following axioms? It is there in the next sheet, and I am telling you that you have memory based subject, so there are 10 axioms, 10 properties, axioms, okay, 10 properties you have for a vector space. If any set like this, is if you are saying that it is a vector space, it should and must satisfy the given set of vectors. Okay, so here if you have this is the non-empty set of vectors v comma plus comma dot, then this should satisfy the following axioms. Let us see what is the following axioms. This is the axiom. See how many axioms are there? There are 10 axioms. Okay, so those who have a book, they can get the benefit of reading the axiom once, and in the next class we will try to complete the topic. Okay, any doubt if you have?
Next slide.
Previous?
Yes, ma'am, previous. That 10 axioms.
This is there listed as it is in your Howard Hinton Chris Ross. Just open 5.1. Just open 5.1.
Okay, ma'am.
Anything
I'm sharing
apart
the
from this?
Ma'am, share the previous PPTs, ma'am.
You want previous slide? This?
No, ma'am. PPT, like the last one.
Please, ma'am.
Matrix.
What is that?
Matrix one, ma'am. The review of matrix.
I'm not able to hear. Can you speak loudly?
Ma'am, the matrix, the last
Review PPT.
Huh?
Ma'am, please share the previous PPT in Teams.
Previous PPT.
Yes.
This one. You want me to share the previous PPT, chapter 1?
Yes, ma'am. He is asking.
He is asking that only.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That is what he's asking.
Okay. Okay, I will share that. But all of you have to do the practice. PPT won't do anything. I am telling you now, every material is taken from Chris Ross, the Howard Hinton book. So please read the book. It's a very good book, and you got the opportunity to do this particular subject through Howard Hinton and Chris Ross. Okay. Everything they have given in the book. At the end, they have given some programming types also. We don't have, but yeah, you have to use, we don't have, that is not the solution. Whatever we have in our course content, it's good, you have for the marks only. But if you want to learn some programming and something, these books have actually given, and you have to use also. So you can't say that you can't, you don't want to study. That is not good.